Macron blocks NATO outpost in Japan amid Chinese complaints.
Here's a summary of the article.
For months, NATO officials have been discussing plans to open a liaison office in Japan, which would represent the Allies' first outpost in the region at a time of growing tension between the West and China. The French official insisted that NATO is geographically confined to the North Atlantic. The plan by NATO to open its first Asian office comes amid heightened concern over China's aggressive maritime and air behavior toward Taiwan and US troops in the region. We have seen NATO bent on going east into this region, interfering in regional affairs and inciting bloc confrontation, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said last month. Macron has been opposed to an increased NATO focus on China for years. In 2021 he said after a NATO meeting that, "We shouldn't confuse our goals," arguing that, NATO is a military organization, the issue of our relationship with China isn't just a military issue. NATO is an organization that concerns the North Atlantic, China has little to do with the North Atlantic. The leaders of Japan, South Korea, Australia and New Zealand will attend the NATO summit in Vilnius next week for the second year in a row.
This post received a score of 2700, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Since Macron no longer have to worry in his last term in office, he goes forward with unpopular pension reform, crack down on protesters and rioters, annoy US, and become lackey to China. Quite a full plate here.
When will this guy be out from office, by the way? May 2027.
Does his party support his actions?
His party was founded by him expressly for him to run for president, so I can only assume so. The traditional French parties have pretty much fallen apart. In the first round of last year's presidential election, the two traditional parties, the Republicans, formerly and the Socialists, took a combined 6.6% of the vote.
He takes the worst of neo-ISMS of the 90s, pension reform, austerity while placating China.
Macron is doing a lot of obnoxious and unpopular shit now that he's on his last term. I wonder why that dollar is.
Because he's in a dollar hole.
Just another slave to money.
France, are you guys okay?
French foreign policy has been more often than not to regard NATO and the US with suspicion. This is nothing new or unique to Macron.
Greater than French foreign policy has been more often than not to be stupid. This is nothing new or unique to Macron. Europe thinks that Asia's problems aren't going to affect them. I read about something like this somewhere, a history book I think it was.
Just a reminder, everyone depends on Taiwan's semiconductors.
However, this scenario is likely to change with the recent signing of the CHIPS and Science Act by President Biden. As a result, manufacturing is shifting to locations such as Ohio, ensuring the United States can swiftly secure its own supply chain in a region that is less susceptible to potential threats.
It doesn't resolve the fact that the most important and specialized levels of chips can still only be manufactured in Taiwan, because they've spent multiple decades innovating to specifically manufacture those. It's not the type of industry you can copy-paste somewhere else.
It will literally take decades for the CHIPS Act to even get the US to Taiwanese standards.
Why not just move in with your new bully, buddy? Men like Macron are why wars are started. Blind to reality.
No, according to Macron. Wars are started because of them damn video games, probably.
'Cause you lack respect, kid. I am president, respect me.
Macron fucking sucks.
I am a believer that US allies in East Asia, especially my home country, South Korea, should send solidarity and support to the war in Ukraine. However, it is very absurd that NATO leaders, especially France, are not interested in East Asian issues.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.